guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Writer's Room. Today we are going to be discussing P-Valley Season 2, Episode 2. And we start off at the club and the girls are doing a search for 2 or 3 more ladies that can contribute to Club Pink. Now, the ladies do start off with Mercedes. She is kind of overseeing this whole talent competition. And we have 2 new ladies introducing the beautiful Gail Bean. Gail Bean is coming all the way from FX on Snowfall and landing with us on P-Valley at Stars. So we are excited to see my girl. If you know Gail Bean from If you know Gail Bean from Snowfall, you know that she also plays Wanda, okay? But I absolutely love her and Whisper's contribution and their tryouts. I mean, they seem to be innovative in this sport, and you could tell Mercedes is a little bit shooken up by these 2 ladies. And it doesn't end there. We do have Miracle Watts, who is playing the role of Big Bone, come in, and she does not know how to dance. If you handed her a pole, she wouldn't know how to use it, which they are handing her a pole. But she is beautiful and does have a desirable body. So Autumn really wants her to come in. Autumn is in love with Big Bone, and probably because Big Bone does remind us of Autumn Night when she first came. She didn't know how to dance, but since she was stereotypically desirable, Clifford went ahead and let her through. Now, Mercedes is very much against this. She hates the whole idea of this because she knows that being an exotic dancer is more than just jumping on here with a big butt and nice breasts or just being desirable. It's actually loving the sport for what it is and knowing how to be flexible and knowing how to move your body. And so she is against this, but once again, Autumn Night is still the owner of the Pink, so Big Bone shall stay. Now, in the midst of these tryouts, we do have Corbin and Andrew coming through. Big L brings them in. And of course, Autumn Night and Clifford do not like these people. They know what they're coming here to do, and that is to once again try to get Uncle Clifford to sell the Pink. We then switch over to Miss Mississippi briefly. As she's pouring her lemonade, she looks over and hears a phone vibrate. She brings that and the lemonade over to her boyfriend, Derek, who is outside seen talking to the deputy or the sheriff about the dispute that happened on murder night at the Pink. And basically, the sheriff is telling Derek that we cannot press charges on Diamond because no one is able to place themselves as a witness to this assault that happened. And we all know that Derek did verbally assault Diamond first, and that's how the whole pursuit happened. But neither here or there. Basically, he's not able to press charges unless someone comes through and says that Diamond physically assaulted Derek. Now, Derek does walk away to go tend to their child. Their child started crying, so he left in Mississippi with the sheriff. And the sheriff is starting to ask questions about, what she does now and everything. But he does lead to what he really wants to talk about, and it is Autumn Night. And he asked Mississippi, does anybody know her real name yet? And Mississippi knows what this is. She's smarter than what she's actually letting on. There's so many complex layers to Mississippi, but I absolutely love this moment where she kind of shuts him down and is like, you never ask a stripper about her real name because if she doesn't tell you, she doesn't trust you yet. We move back into the tryouts at the Pink, and we have Mercedes after they sent all the rest of the girls home. We have Roulette and Whisper watching Mercedes do her things. She is stretching and I guess trying to include them in a number that she does. And they are completely dismissive of Mercedes and what she has to offer to the Pink. Now, Mercedes does come down a little bit harder than she should because we all know that her shoulder is messed up, and the girls start making a muck out of her, okay? And they tell her, hey, Grandma, do you need some alcohol? I have some rubbing alcohol in the car I could get for you. And Mercedes is completely like, hey, piss off. Now in this next scene, we do follow Clifford and Autumn Night / Haley into this VIP room speaking to Andrew and Corbin about selling the pink. We all know that Uncle Clifford is completely against the idea of selling the pink and will never do it in a million years. But if you look over at Haley, Haley is looking very suspicious about this, okay? She knows that business is low, and Corbin is throwing the lowest of the low numbers at them in terms of buying the pink. And so they are talking about numbers, and in this conversation, we do find out that the next day is actually the reopening day of the pink. And Clifford, this is totally shocking to Clifford and everyone else because no one else was aware. They thought they were opening next week. And we also find out that the next day is Uncle Clifford's birthday. And in this, you kind of see Haley stop thinking in such a business mode. And she kind of feels bad for doing this on Clifford's birthday and wish she had known about it. In this next scene, we transition over into Miss Mississippi and Derek's home where they are speaking to Rome, the promoter, about the tour for Lil Murda and bringing Mississippi on board. Now, during this conversation, Rome is telling Mississippi all of the things that she can gain and benefit from during this tour. She'll have the best dressing rooms, the best hairstylist, the best makeup artist, and Mississippi is piecing all of this together and realizing that she's going to have to cough up all of this money in order to pay for that. And I mean, he is looking stuck on stupid right now because it does seem like maybe he's had this conversation with Mississippi already, and it seems like she's switching up what she initially wanted. So he's taken aback and he goes into the car with Lil Murda and Wardy, and he tells them, I don't know, she's acting mad different. This isn't what we had discussed. So everybody's confused. But then we get a text message from Mississippi and she's basically telling him, I'm still on board. Thanks. Like, I'll handle the rest. So he's like, I guess that was all a show, front for her boyfriend. We then transition over to our favorite character on P-Valley. We have Pastor Patrice. She is filming a commercial for her church at Baptist Tabernacle, and she is doing her own rendition of Where the Money Resides, Where the Money Resides. And it is Where the Blessings Reside. So, I mean, it seems like things are going well for Pastor. Let's switch on over back to Lil Murda. Now, Lil Murda does get word that his producer is working with this hot new artist. And if you hear from the voice, it is Megan Thee Stallion. Now, we don't see her face in this scene, but we do know her voice. And so it does seem like Lil Murda is on the up and up and is about to work with a hot new artist. So we go in the car with Lil Murda and Wardy. And Wardy tells him, hey, it's a surprise. I'm taking you somewhere. And they go to pick up this guy in this fly jacket. I mean, it may have been from like 12 years ago, but it is still top-notch, top-tier fashion. But he goes to pick him up, and this scene is, I don't know what to make of this scene because it does seem like they're best friends, him and Murda, but it does seem like maybe they had something a little bit more intimate while they were locked up together, or maybe he holds a lot of secrets of Murda and he's afraid that this might get out. I don't know, but I do know that when they hugged, Lil Murda had a look of concern or worry on his face, as if something was about to get out that he did not want out. I don't know, maybe he just didn't want him getting in touch or being connected to Clifford in any way. Like I said, they could have had an intimate relationship. Who knows where this storyline will take us, but I'm excited to see the drama that unfolds from this. The next scene, we transition over to Lil Murda actually going to visit Uncle Clifford later on in the day, and his grandmother answers the door, and we see that Clifford does realize this is Lil Murda at the house, and he tries to hide behind the front door, but there is a mirror, and I love the way that they are doing the cinematography on this season. In this scene, Uncle Clifford is seen hiding behind the door and telling his grandmother, don't let him in, but the way that the mirror is being positioned, you can see Uncle Clifford hiding behind the front door. And so Lil Murda starts to speak to him through the door, of course, through his grandmother, pretending like he doesn't see Uncle Clifford hiding, and just expressing how much he loves him and how regretful he is for what he's done and how he's made Uncle Clifford feel. We transition over to Andrew at his godfather's home, and he's trying to recover everything, all of his paperwork, and just pick up where he left off. And in this, he does find out that his godfather wasn't just talking about saving Chuckalisa, but he was actually doing it and putting in the work and advocating for people of low income. And so he was actually stealing from the rich and giving back to the poor. And so Andrew is really trying to pick up where he left off, and we're just left with this beautiful but broken version of Andrew trying to piece it all together. In this next scene, we get tired ass Derek still arguing with Miss Mississippi, and he is, I don't know, 2 seconds away from being extremely violent to Mississippi. But thankfully, we do not see this in this episode, but he's upset because he found those diapers that Mississippi threw in the trash or called herself trying to hide last episode. And of course, he was going to find it and also find out that Diamond worked at the dollar store that she actually went to go visit. And he does tell her that I seen your location and I know that you went to the same dollar store that Diamond actually works at. And so this triggers an alarm for Mississippi to go ahead and Harry do what she has to do to convince Derek to let her go on this tour because she needs out. In this next scene, we transition to Uncle Clifford, and he's taking the trash out at his grandmother's house. And initially, I did think that the people in the scream masks that were kidnapping him, air quotes, kidnapping him, were Mercedes and a couple of the other girls from the Pink. But that was not the case. It did turn out to be some of his best friends from his community, and they are just making sure that he feels loved and appreciated on his birthday and treats him like the king that he is. But he is having second thoughts about how he may have treated LaMurda throughout this entire 6 months that they have been away from each other. So he starts thinking about LaMurda and envisioning him showing up at his party. And for a moment, it does seem like LaMurda shows up at his surprise party, but it is not. It is someone that looks or resembles LaMurda. And so Clifford does what Clifford does best, and it is try to get over the other one by getting under a new one. The next scene we follow is going back to the Pink, and it is finally opening night for the Pink. And we have all of the girls that work up there, and we have Whisper and Roulette doing all types of tricks. And in this scene, we do see that Haley is having a little bit of trouble without Uncle Clifford there, following everyone and making sure that everyone is taken care of and making sure that the tasks are delegated in the proper manner. Because we have the girls going nuts inside of the Pink. We have Miss Big Bone on the table. She's supposed to be a bartender at this point, and she is on top of the bar dancing, taking all of the strippers' money. We have Roulette and Whisper not doing the number that was rehearsed with Mercedes in the beginning and doing their own thing and outshining her. In this, Mercedes tries to climb to the very top, and I love the way this is shot because it feels like a music video. But she climbs all the way to the top, and it reminds me of the incident that happened in Dallas where the exotic dancer went all the way to the top and fell right on her face. Oh my gosh, just envisioning it was crazy. But we have Mercedes falling, and then the screen turns black. We wake up, and it is Diamond. Why is Diamond here in our face? Well, because Diamond is actually a root doctor. I know in the first season he was a very spiritual character. He did have like the necklaces around. Remember, he had a conversation with Mississippi about protection and spirituality. And so Autumn Night, Big L, and Mercedes are all there with Diamond, and he's trying to figure out what may be wrong with Mercedes isn't an actual physical injury, but maybe a spiritual injury. And we find out that the title of this episode, which is called 7 Pounds of Pressure, actually is 7 pounds of pressure from pulling the trigger on a gun that Mercedes has attached to her spirit. And she's been carrying this weight ever since she shot and killed Haley's ex-husband back in the VIP room at the Pink in season 1. You do see in Haley's face that she does feel like she is to blame for this, and to be honest, she is. A lot of this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Haley. Neither would the club have been saved if it wasn't for Haley. But she does recognize that she is the person behind Mercedes' pain, and that she is the person that has caused all of this weight to be on her shoulder. We also find out that Diamond kept Haley's ex-husband's ring instead of burying it along with her husband. And so now everyone's confused on why would you keep this? This could be evidence that could link us to this murder or link us to a missing person. And so Diamond just tells them and reassures them, I hid him. He's good. Like no one will ever find him. And even if they do, this will never point to you guys because me and Big L are the ones who got rid of the body. Now, what do I think? I think that this ring acts as a doorway or a connection that links the spiritual body of Haley's ex-husband to P-Valley. And that's why he's still lingering inside of the VIP room like a maniac or some lost puppy. I honestly think this is his purgatory. And until we can get rid of this possession, his spirit will continue to loom over that VIP room. Eerie things will continue to happen at P-Valley until they can remedy this situation. One of the last scenes on this episode is Haley dancing around at P-Valley. Why? Because Mercedes has had enough of Haley after she found out that she has been carrying the weight of a dead person that is linked to Haley. She wants nothing to do with Autumn Night, at least for the meantime. So she wakes up in the morning and she walks by, and that's when we see the eerie picture of her ex-husband's spirit still looking around in that VIP room on the camera, the security camera. But she walks around and she's dancing. She has on her robe and everything, or I'm sorry, her shirt and underwear. And she's dancing, and Andrew walks in and he says that basically, I am here for you. Like, I realize that I need Chuckalisa and Chuckalisa needs me. And I really just need someone to hold at the moment. So Andrew and Haley finally hook up after all of this time of building up this intense longing for each other. And I think at this point, they both just really needed a moment to breathe, and they needed someone who would not judge them in that. And the very last scene that we transition to is Miss Mississippi. She is trying to convince Derek to let her go on this tour. And what does she use to convince him? You guys know. So she does use the oldest trick in the book, which is giving up the goodies. And Derek finally gives in and allows Mississippi to go on this tour. So you know what's about to happen? It is up from here. So that was the recap for season 2, episode 2 of P-Valley. Tell me what you guys think of this episode down in the comments below. If you've made it to this part, hit me with the fire emojis, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in to The Writer's Room.